those books. Gayleen Aiken was a collage artist in ways that we had never suspected, and we find that out by many of the notebooks and many of the books that she made. She used photographic representations that she'd cut from magazines and newspapers in order to supplement, you might say, the images that she had in her head. What we can see is the impulse to make a picture predominating over any kind of idea that it had to originate from her. When she makes a notebook, she doesn't care where the imagery comes from. It's not about who does it, not about what elements are in it. It's about having a picture in your head that you want to render, and you'll use whatever you can in order to get that done.
Gayleen's heirloom house shows up in her paintings and her drawings ever so frequently. It's one of her favorite images. Apparently this meant a great deal to her in her life, and the loss of it was profound.
The house was sold following the death of Gayleen's father, and it is only through her books that we discovered the depth of the loss, the painful homesickness that stayed with her every day, the worries, the sadness.
I miss the wallpaper and the chandeliers, the better things that we used to have, and want to move back.
In many ways, she'd never left. She was there practically every day, exploring it from inside and out. Decades later, she could remember every detail, every sound. Perhaps when she went back one day, it would be as if she'd never left. The house had always been a place of joy, and that never changed. Wherever she was living at the time, she referred to as an art camp, a temporary place to live and work before she returned home.
From when I first met her, she told me where she had grown up with her mother and her dad, and her and it was her dog, and it was a big greenhouse out in the country with fields all around and gardens, and she just loved that. And then they had to move, and that broke her heart, but she always...
The windows became the frames for her paintings and drawings, an art exhibit inviting everyone to look to know who she was.
Pen, you might photograph that.
The house was prominent on her art pens, of which she made thousands, wearing one every day. They went beyond "Hello, my name is" to "This is what I do. This is what I want to tell you. This is who I am."
From when I first met her, she told me where she had grown up with her mother and her dad, and her dog, and it was a big greenhouse out in the country with fields all around and gardens, and she just loved that. And then they had to move, and that broke her heart, but she always wanted to go back, and she always thought she would. So that's why on her little return stamp that she would put on almost everything was that this is my camping out. I'm camping out at whatever the other address was, because she was going to go back someday.